Hello, I'm Sean Nittner, the director of projects for Evil Hat Productions. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm very excited to come to you with the first of a series of State of the Hat streams. I'm going to give some updates on what's happening with Evil Hat. Um, I'm going to dive into all of our books and all our games in development. But before I tackle that, I want to talk about one thing that we would not consider a project under our normal circumstances, but that's this Dice Pool, this thing that we're making right now, which is a series of streams to they will include things like the State of the Hat, but they're also going to include GM advice from amazing GMs on Monster of the Week, Blades in the Dark, Thirsty Sword Lesbians, Fate, and if folks really love it, we'll keep doing this for more of our products. The GMs are going to come on and give their advice, talk about challenging issues that they have dealt with, give best practices, and really try and give you the best place to start from when you're running any of those games. So stay tuned for those coming up in January. But for now, let's talk about what's happening under the hat. Stewpot was crowdfunded this year, and all of the game is done. The book is printed, and if you are a backer, you should have it in your hands right now. There is the book. There's the limited edition. There's the Stewpot coin, the wooden die, the deck of cards. All of those things are out. We're very excited about them. The POD codes are also out. So if you're international and you want to order a copy to print locally, you can do that. The Roll20 module is underway right now. It should be going out. The Roll20 module should be going out probably the end of this month, maybe January. In fact, that's a good general disclaimer. Everything that I'm giving right now is updates for what's happening in Evil Hat at the moment, but things change a lot. Things move around in production schedules. So what's current today may not be accurate tomorrow. This is just where we are. This is a snapshot in time of where things are, and hopefully what you can predict. But as we juggle projects, as progress happens faster or slower on them, things will vary. And you can always check our product update page on Evil Hat to see where every single project is at any given time. Anyway, back to Stewpot. The public release date for Stewpot is February 10th. So if you are not a crowdfunding backer, you will be able to get a copy then. And by that time, every bit of it, the stretch goals, the Roll20 module, the POD, everything will be in stock and available through the Evil Hat website or through your friendly local game store. Very excited about Stewpot. The next one is sort of a two-parter. There's both Hunter's Journal and Slayer's Survival Kit. Hunter's Journal, they're both supplements for Monster of the Week by Michael Sands. They are both a compilation of advice for keepers and for seekers. So Hunter's Journal has individual keeper story, individual hunter's stories, and there's 2 stories per playbook that are ways to give spotlight to a particular character, their background, their things that are going on in their lives, and stories that are all going to be focused on the major thematic elements of those playbooks. There's a lot of fantastic keeper advice in there for running games, and we think that anybody running, especially getting started, if you're starting out and you want to figure out a way to really tailor a game and make it very hunter specific, it's going to be great stuff. Slayer Survival Kit is a hunter focused or a player focused game that has more information on there's tons and tons of advice on playing all the individual playbooks, as well as some new playbooks, some new variants, and some great options for hunters who want to sort of be able to change up their playbooks and really customize them and make them work for themselves. So Hunter's Journal, Slayer Survival Kit, crowdfunding just completed. We are finishing up the art on it right now. That should be done by the end of the year. We're finishing up proofing. So hopefully we send it to the printer in January. And our goal is to get it to backers by middle of 2025, and then after that it'll be coming out to the public. There are some really cool accoutrements for this particular crowdfunding campaign. There are the Slayer's dice, which are metal dice made by Campaign Coins that have a nice good weight to them. They're custom made for Monster of the Week. There's the Hunter's coins, also made by Campaign Coins. These are going to be both beautiful and very functional. So there's a life coin that sort of lets you know if you're healthy or if you're bleeding out, if you're in danger. There are +1, -1 tokens for when you have +1 forward or -1 forward or ongoing. There's hold tokens for when moves give you hold that you can spend, and they all lock together very nice and neatly so that they're compact in your play space. They look nice and they have a lot of functionality. And finally, there's the Investigator's Casebook, which is a bullet journal, a 160-page bullet journal. The front of it is where you'll put all of your hunter information. So it's got everything you put in on your playbook character sheet. The back of it has a bunch of rules references for various moves. And then in the middle is where you can put all of the case notes from your various mysteries. It's an absolutely beautiful journal. I cannot wait to have it in my hands. I want one of these for every game I play in of everything. I just love having I love journaling, and so for me, this is just going to be a absolutely delightful product to have. So, Investigator's Casebook. Keep an eye out for it. Tomb Raider. This is a big one for us. Tomb Raider is a giant IP. We're super excited to be working with Crystal Dynamics. We have completed the first public playtest. We got fantastic feedback. We've been working on that for the last 3 months, getting all of the revisions based on that playback addressed. We've been building out all the playbooks. We've been adding more playbooks. We've been adding more team playbooks. We have a new playbook for folks that are just for explorers that are just brand new to the world of the Society of Raiders. We have a one-shot that we have just been playtesting extensively to really get people right into the tomb off the bat. And Ray and the whole team have been working nonstop on refining this based off of feedback that came from the playtest, feedback that came back from Crystal Dynamics on their review, and our own internal playtesting and internal review. So this is one of those things where it's not a super sexy an update because I don't have on this date this will happen. But right now we're very deep in development and really just trying to hone this to be the best game possibly can be. There's a lot of resources being applied to this game. A lot of people are working on it. We're really excited with what's come out. I just ran 2 playtests recently of Molly Steen's one-shot adventure, which is Frozen Truth, and they were both like just perfect. I wanted to run a 4-hour game. We hit it 3 hours 45 minutes with everything soup to nuts, top to bottom, and it just sung and it just ran so beautifully. So that's really excited to be dialing this game in and getting it to really a beautiful state. Another game, which is not on our Project SAS page because it has not been officially announced there yet, but you see it here, is Tim Denny's Blades 68. This is Dustfall set 100 years in the future of Blades in the Dark. This is an official Blades product. This is licensed by John Harper. This is the actual world of Dustfall in the future. After the world of Blades Blades in the Dark that we know, the Leviathan hunting ran dry, the Leviathans disappeared, and chaos ensued. The lightning barrier fell, Unity War 2 happened, Unity War 3 happened, various insurrections happened, Eruvia split away from the Empire. The Scoveland became the United Scove Covenant. They split away from the Empire. Now we're in a world of post-war espionage. It's this Cold War era, very James Bond, but with all the same paranormal elements. However, there is a big bubble over the city of Dustfall that keeps us protected, thanks to the invention of electroplasmic fusion. We are once again in a relative state of safety, but the golden era, if there was one, has faded, and the wallpaper is peeling away from the walls, and we're seeing the costs of that stability and the anomalies and the weird things that happen. So there is doppelgangers, there are timey-wimey things, there are physics elements that are unpredictable physics. There's also a lot of societal ills that you'll be addressing in this game. There is so much in Blade 68. I've been running a playtest. I think we're 10 sessions in right now. The crew is amazing. The heists that they've pulled are phenomenal, and I'm just so excited to be sharing this with people. So this will be coming early in Q1. public playtesting of Blade 68. It is chef's kiss, amazing, beautiful work. Very excited to share it with you and let people play in Dustfall 968. What else we got on our list? Umdar, Planet of Swords, Super Science, and Sorcery. This is slated for early crowdfunding next year. Umdar is in the final proofs and editing phase. Then we're going to go to art acquisition. Umdar is going to possibly be one of our biggest single Fate games. It's ranking up there with the original Dresden Files RPG. This game was so big that we needed to go break our normal digest size and go to the 8.5 by 11 format. It's going to be a monster because there is so much in here. It's if you're familiar with the original Fate world, Masters of Umdar, there are these sort of cruel masters that rule over the planet of Umdar, and we are now playing the revolutionaries that are going to take it back and free it from these overlords, from these colonizing forces. The game is the epics. What is it? It's not Swords and Sandals, Swords and Sorcery. Planet romance. That's the word. That's the genre. The sort of epic John Carter of Mars, planet romance energy of this is so cool. Yes, all of the really fun beast forms and strange sorceries and sword guilds and all those cool things that we saw from Masters built into a full game full of people overthrowing those set masters. Umdar is going to be absolutely brilliant. Abyssal, the playtest for Abyssal has completed. Abyssal is the game where you play I'm going back a step, sorry. Umdar crowdfunding early 2025. Excited to share it with folks. All right, Abyssal. This is by Ash Cheshire and Laura Turner. Abyssal is the game. It's a Forged in the Dark game where you play liminals who have been who live between the world of the humans and the Abyssals. You may be a bitten, but you are not quite yet a werewolf, or sorry, a vampire. You have to balance this space between sort of a world, a society that goes on ignoring you, doesn't really make a place for you, and a society that is and an abyssal society that wants to consume the free will that you have, and balancing the living in that liminal space between them is a difficult one, but it's also one where you have a huge room for discovery, found family, camaraderie, discovery both of the world itself, but also of self-discovery. It's an absolutely beautiful game. The tech in this game that is so just choice amazing is that because it's a Forged in the Dark game, the place where you would find crew playbooks, for instance, have been replaced by setting playbooks. And so are you playing in 18th century London, 19th century London, or 18th century France, or 20th century Las Vegas? Each of those setting playbooks or city playbooks completely transforms the game in phenomenal ways. And it puts different factions in power, and your relationship to those factions changes depending on the setting. And so, and the nice thing about these playbooks is there's a lot to them, but they're not impossible to recreate. So you can build your own worlds, including using the existing factions, but you can also make your own as well. And so the ability to set this game in different places is just going to continue to expand. We have 3 that are part of the core game, but we're going to be adding a lot more through the stretch goals when we go to crowdfunding. And it's something that's approachable to make it to make it for the time and the place that you're really excited about playing it as well. So I think there's going to be a lot of fan creations for this. It's just going to be great. Abyssal is in post playtest revisions right now. Post playtest revisions is a long window. It's a time when we're really reflecting on all the work. and on all the feedback that came out of the playtest. And we're going to keep iterating on it and keep working on it internally until it just sings perfectly. And then we move on to the finishing stages. So excited to see if this will continue moving forward in 2025. Ranges of a Broken World by Kat McDonald is a dark, grim fairy tale world. And you are all rangers who have connected to some incredible power that grants you the ability to make changes in that world, changes for the better. The world is broken in fundamental ways, and you have the option to, while you cannot change the entire world as a whole, you can, on a localized case-by-case basis, try and make live in these sort of dark fairy tale worlds and offer hope and humanity to the people within them. Rangers has a custom system where the magic system in it is built from magic words that you compose both from your own sort of repository and the repository of the environs. If you are, I've always been a huge fan of Ars Magica. I think that the verb noun magic system has always been an absolute delight. It feels like it's really crafting magic, and Rangers does that, has that similar feel of building your own spells in a way that's like incredibly satisfying, because they feel contemporary to the place that you're in, to the environment that you're in, but also they're very deeply personal. And each Ranger is working on their own signature spell that, once complete, is their own sort of magnum opus. So Rangers is a really, really exciting game, and Kat's vision of this dark fairy tale world is just absolutely beautiful. Connie Chang's God Killer, a holy punk RPG for one player, the God Killer, and one GM. God. If you have seen Connie's streams on Transplanar, you know that they are an amazing GM and an amazing game designer. And we're super excited to have Connie's work showing up on a roster. There's some things about God Killer that are just you just do not find anywhere else. God Killer is powered by the Apocalypse, but the interchange of each move, the back and forth of each move that has the God and the God Killer building the world as you play is just absolutely beautiful. The game becomes deeper, more personal, more fleshed out, more real the longer that you play it. And as the God Killer, your choices, your morality keep coming to the surface as the game plays. It's absolutely, it's a beautiful game. It's also a game that is extremely well designed for streaming. Normally we're sort of like stream agnostic. We love it if people run our games on streams. That's great, but we're not designing around that ethos. But Connie, as a veteran streamer, has these sort of ingrained sensibilities that knows how to make a game that is going to work very well in a stream environment. And so we're really, really excited. This game is going to be phenomenal played one-on-one, just at home, but it's also going to be phenomenal if two people decide to get together on a stream, because the interface of the game is very, very compatible with the stream, where you don't want to have big complex character sheets or lots of tons of dice to roll or whatnot. The call and response to the game is just one very well suited for a beautiful conversation that can be held in person alone, but also really, really works beautifully on a stream. So God Killer is in development still right now. Connie is working on versions of it to both contract and expand it. So there's going to be a solo journaling version that's in development, and there's also going to be a multiplayer version of it. The game itself is actually just God Killer at its core is very, very close to complete. There's a lot of sort of GM advice and hints of building the cradle, the sort of setting that God Killer would take place in, that are being developed. But the core game mechanics have been pretty locked in for some time. But now Connie's sort of building out the rest of the game to make it easier to jump into as a new God or God Killer, and also to expand and contract sort of the player count. So lots of fun stuff. development on that is going to continue through 2025. As the Sun Forever Sets by Riley Daniels, this has completed playtesting. As the Sun Forever Sets is a Forged in the Dark game set in Victorian London after the anywhere from one day to a few days after the Martian invasion. The game takes place in the 15 days between the Martians arriving and the extinction event. And it is a horror game. It is a hex crawl game. It is a Forged in the Dark game. It is a game about relationships and your connection to people. It is a game that critiques societal norms or the societal norms of the time, which many of the same have been, exist today. This is a lovely game of people finding what they're really made out of and confronting their ideas of themselves, but their ideas of like how they fit in the world as the world itself is kind of disintegrating around them. The mechanics that Riley has built are just impeccable in these building relationships have a huge effect on the interplay of the game, and the resource management of this game is also just delightful. If anyone ever watched the Bland of Blades stream that we ran on Actual Play some years back, I was a quartermaster. You know that I love myself some resource management and role-playing games that has like a real bite to it, that like has a narrative implication where you care about these clocks and you care about the outcomes because they really do kind of mean life or death for people, and they affect people's lives in huge ways. So As the Sun Forever Sets is in post-playtest revision as well right now. And Riley is working with a system developer, and they are actually Riley's working with Strash Achimovic, the one of the creators of Band of Blades, on system development. So Strash is giving has got some fantastic background in Forged games, and the two of them are doing some absolutely beautiful work revising this. So very excited to see how this continues. Chen Zhang, Tales of the Immortal Godship. This game is so close. We're doing some internal playtests. This is also finished the public playtest. And Banana and Calvin and Dee and Sen have made lots of revisions to it based on the playtest. There was lots of really good feedback. So thank you, as always, to our playtesters. You really help us make the games the best they can be. But we're now doing an internal playtest to sort of make sure all those rule changes are ironclad, that they really work. And Tianjing just tells this beautiful story of gig economy in space amongst the Chinese diaspora. Your immortal godship that you fly on, which is sentient, is a member of the family, is an ancestor that you care about. Their opinions matter a lot. Your sort of that there's a lot of tension between the godship, which is sort of the anchor for your traditions and your customs and your beliefs, and the world as it's changing and what's happening and how much you want to honor those traditions versus break out on your own. The godship is something you're never going to leave, so it's always going to be this element in the game, and your interplay with that is what makes the game so fruitful and so delightful. So we're very, very close to I would say creating a finalized rule set, and then the writing will finish, and then we'll do editing and finishing and all that jazz. So continued development for Chen Zhang in 2025, but very, very close to what I'd consider a finalized rule set. The Dagger Isles, another Blades in the Dark game. We also just finished up the playtest on this. Apologies if we sound like a broken record. The development cycle for our games is usually at the minimum 3 years. So there is a lot of, we just finished this cycle and we're moving on to the other. And very rarely are those, a crowdfunding event or a release, because our games take a long time to make. We put a lot of care and love into them. And the teams are all very dedicated to them, but they're also all usually working on lots of things at once. And so We really want to make sure the games keep being developed until they're really at their best. So we get some fantastic feedback on the Dagger Isles, and one of the things that we heard from the playtesters was that this game really feels less like you're playing criminals and more like you're playing revolutionaries and rebels. And we're like, you know, that's true, and we don't hate it. We don't hate it at all. So that's something that we're going to lean into even more as we continue developing on this. Is the Empire's hold on the Dagger Isles is very one-sided one. There is not a lot of back and forth, and the people of the Daggerites have every reason to want to buck the control of the Empire. So let's play that up and let's really dig into that. That was already built in many ways, but we've decided to just sort of double down on that. So we're very excited about the sticking it to the man and the Dagger Isles. Project Perseus. This is a game I haven't talked about in a while because it's been in development for some time. But Strash and John are finalizing this now. I believe I will be getting an updated draft later this month. I'm very excited about that. Project Perseus is a 1980s super spies versus the supernatural game. You are Perseus is its own organization that tries to stop supernatural threats throughout the world. It is very, Atomic Blonde meets Supernatural. You are the coolest, raddest spies out there, but magic and werewolves and vampires are also out there. And so it is a big threat. And many of the spies have their own connection to the supernatural. In fact, almost all of them do. This game has some really cool elements to it. One of them is there's, you're sort of used to the conventional GM player's role, and that is included, but there's also an operator role, which is really, the guy in the chair role. And the operator has the ability to influence the game in ways that get the operatives, get the agents out of trouble, but two, gives it that sort of cinematic cool feel of somebody was planning for this. There's a flashback. There's something set up. You need just the right thing, and it's hiding right under your seat at the opera house. And your operators present the mission, but they're also guiding you through it. They're on the phone or they're on the wire, and you've got comms with them, and they're helping the agents out through it. They're also doing the review at the end, and sort of. So there's a lot of fun tension between the agents and the operator. I've played both, and I would say it's an absolute delight. It sort of divides up the GM role a little bit, which I always think is fun because the GM is usually saddled with a whole lot, and the operator gets a piece of that, which is really exciting. And just the cities and the setting and the factions of Perseus are just so juicy. Yes. I'm a gun witch at my heart. I always will be. But I think every single game in every single playbook, not playbook, sorry. Another element of Perseus is that there are not playbooks, there are individual agents. And so Mia the Gun Witch is an individual character. And so you get to play her on missions. And eventually each of the characters that as they get played on missions, they get worn out, they need recuperation, and so you're playing a different roster of characters, and you sort of build up this roster through play, and they each have their own personalities and their own backgrounds, and you get to flesh those out and play as well. So it's really exciting that this game is like you're playing these particular agents, and they've all had a lot of beautiful detail and attention played to them. So super excited about Perseus, super excited about all those other games. Many of them are, the status is going to be continued development in 2025, but we are excited to be crowdfunding Umdar. We're excited to be playtesting Blade 68. I do have one more playtest that we are probably going to be releasing early in 2025, but it has not been announced yet. So I would say stay tuned to the State of the Hat updates and the project status page on our website to find out more about that, because this is another game truly after my heart, and I can't wait to share it with all of you. So thanks everyone for hanging out with me. It's been a blast sharing all this with you. If you have questions about the state of the hat, about games going on, you can drop them in the channels the over here in Moomium. You can email us feedback@evilhat.com, and we'd love to hear from you. Love to talk to you more. Take care.